There we go. Helps when I turn on the microphone. Hello, everybody. How's everyone doing? This is Graham, also known as POCGamer, and yeah, it is time for a 2023 retrospective, sort of look at what happened in 2023. And wow, my camera is super blurry. That is new and weird. Okay. Let's see here. More light help? No. Oh, wow. I look awful. Yeah, turn that light off. Ugh. Okay. Well, I have fought with my computer enough today. I don't think I'm going to fight with it too much more about this. And it is instead time to focus on 2023 and what happened. Because, wow, it was a big year. Lots of stuff going on. Hey there, Tiger Tarkla. How's it going? 2023. What happened? Well, there was a whole bunch of both good and rough news in the RPG world. So we saw everything going down from we kicked off the year with the OGL scandal with D&D. Cheerfully announcing that they were going to try to change the OGL to 1.1, and all the stuff that was involved with that. So that was a whole screaming nightmare by itself, and that actually led to a lot of other events that would happen through the year. We got the Pathfinder remaster out of this. We discovered that MCDM. Matt Colville and his team, as I said in the article I wrote about it, yeah, they popped smoke and threw frags and decided to create their whole own system. So tons and tons of fallout from that. We're still experiencing the fallout from that, and wow, this is really bizarre how bad this video is. Does this video look terrible at everybody else's end? Let me know in the chat whether or not the video looks grainy. It looks grainy on my screen. That might just be me, though. Anyways, so 2023, that was the major event that started everything off. We saw a whole bunch of different releases through the year from different groups. It was my first year of being a full-time nerd. Last summer I left my job. And started doing this full time, and made it through a year of doing it, which is more than a lot of other people do. It's not easy to do, and I'm fortunate that I have an incredibly supportive partner and a daughter who is willing to let me know what's what, even though she is only 5. So that's all been really helpful to all the sorts of stuff. Looks fine. Okay. Well, I guess it looks good. I guess it's just Streamlabs making me look weird on my computer. Thank you for letting me know that I, in fact, look all right. I hope. Anyways, so what else we got here? Twitter continued to be a huge thing through 2023. So, like many other creators out there, prior to Elon Musk's takeover of Twitter, Twitter was my primary source of interaction with the larger tabletop RPG community. It's where I talk to people. It's where I drove traffic to my to the main website. All that sort of everything was going on through Twitter. And with the changes to the algorithm, the new blue check system, and all that sort of stuff, I watched the impressions for my tweets go from low 7 and high 6-figure impression rates to low 5-figure and lower. It's pretty grim. So a whole lot of social media stuff going on over 2023 as sort of everybody scrambled to figure out where was the best place to end up. And on my end, for that, I actually ended up, let's see here. Sorry, I've got my notes here. So smart this time and actually wrote some stuff down. All right, so for me, Blue Sky has actually ended up being more or less the best spot for social media for me. TikTok is larger. It's slowly growing, about 2,100 followers there right now. Blue Sky is sitting at 1,100-ish. Their system, once you go over 1,000, it just counts by hundreds. So I've got no idea. It just says 1.1K. So I actually have no idea what the exact number is. But it's growing. And last month was the first month where I actually had more traffic coming to POCGamer from Blue Sky than Twitter, which was pretty awesome. YouTube growing steadily, sitting around 713, 712, something like that. Hopefully get up to 1,000 soon. Pardon me. And then oddly, Threads. Threads is slowly growing. I know it was the butt of a lot of jokes over the summer. Like it had that disastrous launch. They weren't ready for anything. And then now we're here. It's starting to pick up. I'm starting to see a lot of other creators on there. The team from Fari RPGs is on there, and a whole lot of other creators. So it's really starting to develop. It's kind of cool. Still low numbers, but I'm starting to see more interaction on there, and that's cool because, yeah, interaction is interaction. The main website was, it was down, obviously. Like I said, Twitter was driving most of my traffic, and then when Twitter stopped twittering, well, it caught me pretty bad. There's only about 36,000 views on the main site this year, down from 51,000 last year. However, we had a very strong finish to the year, thanks to the Pathfinder remaster releases, because that post alone was just... I haven't seen numbers like that for a long time. Speaking of which, so top 5 articles this year. A lot of fun with these. A wide spread on them too. I'm surprised actually. So the top post of the year period was the day 1 review, Pathfinder's GM core and player core, with 6,625 views in about 2 weeks, which is really good for my site. So just on that, just segue onto Pathfinder for a bit here. I didn't know what to expect when Pathfinder was going to do the remaster. I was not expecting what they produced at all. I was expecting, just like a new core rulebook with, all the OGL scrubbed out of it, and that was it. That would have been the easy route. They did not go the easy route. They went the hard route and redid the whole thing. And it is, from my perspective, both as a game master and as a player, probably the best 2 books that I have seen in a long time. The Pathfinder GM core book and player core book are phenomenal. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it is all but a new edition. Got a comment here. Sorry. So the reason that I don't have the comment box on the side here like I have in the past is because Twitch will now allow multi-streaming. They realized that they were losing tons of people because people couldn't stream across multiple things anymore at the same time with that rule change they had. So they changed it so that now you can stream to your heart's content anywhere you want, as long as everybody gets the exact same experience. So the little chat box that I usually have on the there we go, right here, is absent because that would get flagged. Somebody could flag that, and I would end up getting a warning for not providing an equal experience to everybody. So nobody else can see the chat except for me, and but fortunately I can still answer questions and comment on stuff. So that's good at least. But yeah, that's why that's happening. Anyways, back onto Pathfinder though. The player core book was good, really good. The big downside to it to me was that it didn't have all the classes that you're expecting in it. I understand why they did it. I'm looking forward to the player core book 2 because it is going to be based on what they've done here. It's going to be really good. And the GM core though, The GM core is what the DMG wants to be when it grows up. Both these books are amazingly well laid out in terms of being able to like be accessible, like know where you are in them, navigate through them. But the GM core is actually written for GMs. It like, whether you're a brand new GM or if you are, like seasoned, you've been running games for the last like 40 years or something like that, it's useful. It covers everything. It says, hey, here's rules for, you want to have chases. Here you go. Here's vehicles, exploration. Here's a whole bunch of stuff for exploration. How do you set up an encounter? How do you run a session? How do you design a campaign? How do you design a world if you want to build your own world? Like, it's all in there. And it is phenomenal. So yeah, that was the top post on POCGamer this year was, the day one review, Pathfinder's GM core and player core book. Did really well. Look forward to see your comment here. I'm looking forward to breaking into PF and getting a game running with my group this year. Yeah, I think a lot of people are going to be doing that, especially once there is a mild learning curve to Pathfinder, but I do mean mild. And once you get used to how they've changed, from like how it's evolved away from D&D, it is phenomenal. I especially am enjoying the experience system because it's actually supporting, those three pillars of combat, social, and exploration really well. So yeah, it's definitely going to be a good one with that for you. Let us all know how it goes. Next up, second one was bailing on the OGL, 3 companies, 3 directions. Yeah. Whoo. So this one was just over 1,200 views, and that was in like the last month. And it was just me looking at how Paizo, Kobold Press, and MCDM were all approaching the OGL situation. And, Pathfinder was predictable. They were already well evolved away from the D&D model, so they just kept on going the way they're going. It accelerated their evolution, which is good. The team at Kobold Press, they're knuckling up. Like, they're here to fight. And I'm interested to see where it goes with them. Is this... yeah, pretty much, yeah. Yeah, they got that. Yes, this is the Hasbro Wizard Smells Like Moldy Cheese stream. Yes, that is accurate right now. So Kobold Press is going to try to out 5e Wizards. I'm not saying it can't be done. It has been. There is a site. Just let me see if I can remember. What was it? I think it was called Advanced 5e. Level Up Advanced 5th Edition. That was it. So I'd heard about this ages ago when they were just sort of getting going, and then didn't track it. And somebody mentioned... I'm not sure what's going on. So I got a question here. Dan Dillon was Wizards, but isn't he part of Kobold Press too? Honestly, I'm not sure. Let's find out. We'll use the miracle of the internet here. Let's see here. Dan Dillon, Kobold Press. There we go. So he was part of them? Like, there's a staff announcement here. Oh, he was part of Kobold Press back in the day. There we go. So 5th edition designer Dan Dillon has moved on to... Yeah, I'm just looking at a website here. So it says, congratulations to D&D team member Dan Dillon. So in 2019, Dan Dillon was hired from Kobold Press over to Wizards. So that's how that went. And recently he was caught in the round of layoffs. As I was saying, though, it is possible to out 5th edition D&D. We've seen it with Level Up Advanced 5th edition, which, like I said, I've been tracking. I'd heard of, wasn't tracking. Somebody recommended it to me after I released the article I'm talking about, and I went back and checked it out. And yeah, it's 5e plus. It's 5e better. So it can be done, but they're under the gun now, because if they want to make it work, and obviously that's the plan, they have to move quickly, because if they do not move quickly, they're going to just get caught up in the tsunami that's going to be 1D&D or whatever they're calling it when that releases. So they have to work hard and work fast to make their Tales of the Valiant a thing. And finally, there's MCDM. So MCDM, they're in the last days now of their backer kit campaign for the MCDM RPG, which is a 100% departure away from D&D. You can go to the backer kit site, check it out. They're over $3 million funds raised now, so they're past all of their goals. They had originally planned for 800,000. Yeah, they're calling. Got a comment here. They're calling it. Please don't call it 6th edition. Yeah. So, yeah, they're MCDM is making money hand over fist on this. People are into it. From what I've seen, from what they've released on that site, it is a 100% departure from D&D. The mechanics are totally different, and they are aiming squarely at the fighting demographic. Like, yes, there's going to be RP, obviously, and it's a role-playing game, all that sort of stuff. But the focus is being awesome and fighting. And, like, hitting people and throwing them across the room, and just being, like, as badass as humanly possible at all possible times. So they have a very specific demographic in their sites. They're going after it hard, and from the looks of things, it is working. I see that it could succeed extremely. Like, they could, more so I think than Kobold, they may be able to pull a bit of a Paizo and poach a significant part of the D&D population away, because they are, making a lot of similar moves. For example, they want to have an SRD and a bunch of other stuff released before the game is even out, so that people can already be creating for it by the time it's being fully released. They're already talking about making sure they have a what's called virtual tabletop. They were talking about doing their own, all sorts of stuff. So they are moving fast. The other thing that I think is going to be a benefit for them is convention play, because from what I've seen of the MCDM RPG, and again, this is like just the stuff they've released, it is very, very convention friendly. Far more so than D&D or Pathfinder or any number of other games. And so if they manage to make that sort of like big splash, it could get pretty big pretty quickly. So, yeah. So your third biggest article for top 5 POCGamer this year was "What Happened? Writing for Wizards Part 2," with just short of 1,100 views. So this is an older article, and this is from 2021, where I the year that I was blacklisted by Wizards after blowing up about the editing hack job on my work, and the unequal method, the inequality of how writers were interacted with and creators were interacted with for that project. That being the Candlekeep Mysteries thing. And basically it's just realistically, like, I wrote it specifically for writing for Wizards. However, it could be applied to any number of people who are hiring you to write for them, because it was it was a 2-part series, and the whole thing was literally just looking at, like, these are the realities of writing, this is how things were, and apparently people are still finding it useful, so I leave it up. It's good. Number 4, Fantasy Age 2nd Edition, the review, just over 1,000 views. So yeah, Fantasy Age 2nd Edition came out, and Fantasy Age is it's one of my favorite games. I don't get an opportunity to play it a lot. It is a little bit of a weird animal because of the way the stunt system works and stuff like that in it. But it is a lot of fun. It's by Green Ronin, and it works. It's a great game. I enjoyed the first edition of it. I felt bad that it didn't get the support that it should have gotten, in my opinion. And second edition got a little bit more love, which is good. Got a new class in it that takes up that sort of like the social role, commanding like in D&D terms, it combines like the bard and the warlord and a couple other things all in one. Really good. Solid game, fun. Badly suffering from the fact that for some reason, oh yeah, love it. Yeah, see your comment here. I like Age. Just wish they found a way to improve the hit point issues without house rules. Yeah, that's fair. That is fair. They did resolve it a little bit in second edition Fantasy Age. Like it's improved because they took a lot of their lessons learned from Fantasy Modern and a bunch of stuff that was happening and applied it, which was good. But it's still, still a little bit weird. Needs to have a sort of that steady hand at the GM tiller to make it work. I hope that they give it more attention and more development. Honestly, I said it before, like years ago. I actually talked to the people at Green Ronin about it, and they asked me why I thought it wasn't doing well, and I was blunt with them. I said that it's because you don't support it. You're hoping that a whisper campaign, like a word of mouth, will develop and people will just go out and start playing the game and start buying it. And yeah, exactly. See, there's another example. Cthulhu. So I just got a comment here. Cthulhu Age dropped recently. That's awesome. I didn't see anything anywhere about it. Like I don't know if Green Ronin's allergic to like basic social media advertising and stuff like that, but they just they just don't blow their own horn for stuff nearly often enough. So I got another comment here. All I want to play recently is BX Beckme compatible retro clones or Cyberpunk. Yeah, it's fair. Yeah, sometimes you just want to play something basic or Cyberpunk. Yeah, I love Cyberpunk. My buddy's son's actually just borrowed my Cyberpunk Red core book so that him and his friends can expand past D&D, and I was like, yes, get out there, play, have fun. Didn't Green Ronin get blasted on Twitter last time they tried the social advertising? That's possible. I don't remember ever seeing anything. Yeah, that I can see that being a problem. So we got a comment here. Didn't Green Ronin get blasted on Twitter last time they tried social advertising? Followed by another one. Green Ronin doesn't do much with social media. They love the old forum method, but it's dying. Then because they showed next time because they showed a discussion panel event that only had old white dudes. Might have been someone else. No, that's sounding familiar. Yeah. But I don't think that was so much like social advertising as them just like not reading the room very well. Because prior to that, like they'll do like a day of release post. We're like, hey, this game's out. And then nothing. Hey, they just don't, they don't push it. They don't comment it. They don't spotlight anything about it. Because like, believe it or not, I believe, I'm pretty sure, hang on, just let me check. Love using the internet midstream here. Let's see here. Age, community, content, DTRPG. Look at my hands. Yeah, like they've got the Age Creators Alliance. And they have a community content program for Fantasy Age and Modern Age. And it is not empty, but like there's not a see here, they've got 3 pages. of content, a lot of which is their like own stuff. So like they don't spotlight creators. They don't like help people. Like they're not fostering their community is what it is. They're like a lot of other game companies. They're fighting the wars and battles of like 15 years ago, 20 years ago. And I'll get into that in a moment. I'll just do the last of this top 5 thing, then we'll talk about that. So last one. The 5th most popular article was actually a surprise to me, and that was what happened to Cortex Prime, which had 900 views in just about 2 months there. And this was where I looked at Cortex Prime, because for like a brief window, Cortex Prime was the hotness. It was, people were looking forward to it. It had a really successful Kickstarter. It was being used as the system for the Into the Motherlands actual play. It was great. People were into it. They were digging it. And then it just disappeared. And when I was researching this article, I discovered that like it had been, the history for it was nuts. Like it was originally created, the original Cortex system, which has almost no resemblance to the current Cortex system, was created by like Margaret Weiss Productions to be the RPG system for one of her fantasy worlds. I think it was the Sovereign Stones or something like that. Anyways, then it got changed up to what was it? It was a new type of Cortex, new system. They were doing really well converting IP over to it. Like there was like Battlestar Galactica, Smallville, whole bunch of stuff like that, and Serenity. Yeah. So like all sorts of stuff was going on, and then Margaret Weiss decided that she was getting out of the RPG business to focus on movies and books. So Cam Banks bought it. It tried to run with it, ran the successful Kickstarter, couldn't keep it going. Fandom bought it. Fandom ushered it through. Fandom was pretty much like this is where everything started to go wrong, if I recall correctly, because Fandom got them the Dragon Prince and Masters of the Universe IPs. Dragon Prince released has been super successful, but they never really got into releasing like the core book. And then they also closed down the community content program for the second edition of Cortex, and so they're going to start their own. That never happened. So you have a generic system that's not getting any official support and not getting. So you got a comment here. This is where everything starts to go wrong. Does fit Fandom's theme? Yeah, fair. So they never got their own community content thing, because when they released like their conceptualization for it, it rubbed a lot of creators the wrong way really fast, and then they didn't course correct fast enough to like move on and get it all going again. So Dragon Prince becomes really popular, but the core book and everything else like that is just sort of languishing in the background. Then Fandom, I guess, decides like they had a bad year or something else, so they decided they're going to get out of the RPG business and sold them to another group that primarily does like, they do board games and like mobile games, and they've buried the Cortex Prime book on their, like, you can still find it, but you have to go through like several drop down menus to get to it, whereas like the Dragon Prince game is right there. Like they want to sell you the Dragon Prince game because it's popular and there's like an expansion for it coming up and all that sort of stuff, but the main book, you've got to like fight your way through to it. You can't get a PDF of it. You can only buy a physical copy, and it only ships to the States. So like the copy I have, I got because for in a brief window it was available for sale in Canada, and it's not available anymore. So yeah, it's really in a rough place, which sucks because it has a absolutely thriving community. Like I check out the Cortex Discord every so often, and it's wild. Like, people are doing stuff with it. They're pushing it in all sorts of different directions, all sorts of stuff. Cam Banks isn't a bad guy. He knows what's up. He's interested in the system. He wants to make it work, all that sort of stuff. And this is where I'll get back now to what we were talking about a moment ago with Green Ronin. They're fighting the wars of years past. I think we're at a point now in the tabletop RPG world where there's certain, like on the business end of it, where there's certain things that creators and like game companies need to accept. One of those things is that none of us, because I'm a creator as well, none of us is D&D. None of us is bigger or is big enough. Yeah, so we got a comment here from unfortunately we've had a lot of radio silence from Direwolf Digital. Exactly. Yeah, Direwolf Digital. So that's the new owner of Cortex, and yeah, they're not talking about anything. The last releases I saw from them were for the expansion. And for Dragon Prince, and that's it. But yeah. Anyways, so none of us are, like I was saying, none of us are D&D. We don't have D&D money. We don't have D&D's footprint. We don't have D&D's level of support or agency to strike it out on our own. And I think this is a mistake that a lot of companies make, is that they think they can either out D&D D&D. They're like, we have a fan base. We can do whatever. We can set up and do whatever. But it doesn't work that way, because nobody has a big enough fan base to do that. Like Paizo and Pathfinder arguably have the second largest fan base within the larger like tabletop RPG fandom, next to the D&D one. And that's accepting overlaps and everything else like that. And even they are like, yeah, no, like we're not. They're not setting up their own VTT. They're not setting up their own community content program that runs independent of Drive-Thru RPG, all that sort of stuff. And it's because they realize that they it's not feasible for them. But that's where groups like Cam makes the Cortex Prime, they don't want to have DTRPG involved. They want to do it by themselves, which is fine. But A, you have to do it, and then B, you have to advertise it, and there's a whole bunch of extra costs and mechanics involved with doing it, because if you're not going to use DTRPG, which is the largest distributor of role-playing games on the planet, as far as I can tell right now, if you're not going to go through them, then you've got a whole uphill battle to fight, and nobody sort of realizes that until they start trying to fight it. Same thing, you don't see a lot of social media stuff for a lot of games. For example, like I'm actually overwhelmed with examples right now. Artelsorian Games doesn't talk up Cyberpunk Red nearly enough. Like, they do talk it up, and when they do their monthly DLC drops, it's pretty good, but they don't talk it up very much. They don't have a community content program, and they don't have a any sort of spotlights. They very rarely spotlight fan content. So they're not growing. Let's see. Got a comment here. Really, nobody is anywhere near D&D's marketplace scale. Everybody in this industry is trying to compete with D&D, and D&D is trying to compete with other media and entertainment options. Yeah, pretty much. Yep. Yeah, that's incredibly accurate. Yeah. Sucks. But anyways, from my perspective, as somebody who, looks at a lot of games, I do reviews for different games, and who is observing the landscape as it changes. In order to win these days, you have to foster, and by like win, I don't mean beat D&D. I mean become financially stable enough that you're able to operate continuously, without, being too worried about not being able to pay all the bills, or your writers, artists, all that sort of stuff. And it is community content is absolutely essential. You have to have community content. If you don't have community content, if you're not supporting and fostering your community in an official capacity, that's going to hamstring your game. You have to have a community content policy. And like we even saw like Savage Worlds, they did one of the hardest pivots I've seen ever. And I was actually deeply impressed by it when they did it, because they went from having a very old-fashioned contractual content creation. So basically, like, prior to their creation of Swag, the Savage Worlds Adventurers Guild, if you wanted to create with Savage Worlds, you basically had a choice. You could either create something cool and put the fan license on it, and it had to be like sold, like you couldn't sell it. It was had to be freely available to people. Or you had to contact them, go through an entire vetting process. Get lawyers were involved. You had contractual obligations. They had final say, like you'd send in your copies and stuff like that, so they could take a look at it all, and then you could publish. So it was very old, very 90s, early thousands operation. And then they pivoted hard. They said, hey, you know what? We are leaving money on the table. If we have a huge fan base, they want to create, our systems are preventing them from creating. Let's create a community content program. They partnered with Drive-Thru RPG. So the Swag system comes out, and it is full of stuff. People are creating like crazy on it, and everybody's winning. The creators are getting some money. DTRPG, of course, is getting money. They're the baseline everyone's building on, and Savage Worlds, Pinnacle Entertainment, is getting money. Everybody's winning. And we have some amazing content that's come out of it. And like I've got the Savage Worlds Sprawl book somebody made, which is a combination of like all the information you need to run either a Shadowrun or Cyberpunk style game using Savage Worlds. And it's on my list of stuff to review this year. I picked it up during the Cyberpunk sale back in October, and it's. I was impressed, because a lot of companies won't make that pivot. They'll look at it and be like, nope, we got to stick to our old-fashioned way of doing things. This is the best way to operate. And that's how you get stuff. Like right now, Cyberpunk should be one of the biggest RPGs out there. Cyberpunk Red, it's good. Like I've got my issues with the nomads and how they were used and stuff like that, both mechanically and world building wise. That's neither here nor there, but as a game by itself, it is good. It is rock solid. It should be huge. Between Edge Runners, 2077, that new Edge Runners box set they're coming out with, that's going to like take the whole timeline into the future. It should be giant. It should be massive. It's not. They have no community content program. They don't do a bunch of stuff like that with it, and so it just sort of languishes. Hopefully we'll see change, but who knows? Let's see here. Just gonna looking at my list here of anything else that comes up as big events this year. The Orc license is available now. That's good. I've actually seen it in use a few times now. For example, that advanced 5th edition, their SRD is available with both OGL 1.0A, Orc, or Creative Commons, which is pretty cool. You can like pick which one you want to use for your content, so that's pretty good. And then the latest news, of course, overshadowing everything else, is the mass layoffs at Wizards, and it's grim. That is super grim. It was. I knew that things were going sideways with Wizards when they laid off Ari Levitch and a few others earlier. I think it was like late last year or something. I think it was late last year when they started laying them off, because they were the top world builders. Like, I did an absolutely amazing consultation job with Wizards where I work with Ari Levitch. And I need to find that NDA and find out when that expires so I can actually talk about what we talked about, because it was awesome. Like, we had a whole thing going on. Amazing guy to work with. And they fired him. Like, they let him go. And now, like, we watched from, I don't know, late 2021 onwards, they were dropping... Sorry, got a comment here. Nothing but love for Artel Sorian, but sometimes you gotta have tough love. And wow, 1998 called and wants the website back. Yeah, they badly need a new website. 100%. That action needs to be updated. There we go. So over the last year or so, they've laid off all their best world builders, which isn't good because Wizards has been absolute trash at world building for the last all of 5th edition. It has just been junk. And I've got to come in here. The layoffs are such a wild choice coming off the success of Baldur's Gate 3. Yeah, I mean, the Baldur's Gate 3 team came out and said that over half the people that they needed to talk to make updates to the game and do DLC developments, all that sort of stuff, are gone now. So yeah, it's it was wild choices and bad ones. Because here's what I foresee is happening right now. So Wizards has already divested themselves of most of their world builders, and they've already announced that anything that's not in one of their official core books created out of partnership with anyone else. So the Penny Arcade, Rick and Morty, and Critical Role books. None, the content of those don't count because those are in partnership. Just their books, that's the only lore, and for this edition is the only lore that counts. That was bad. They fired all their world builders, and they're going into a new world building phase. And honestly, I just don't. I don't see it going as well as they hope it will. What I see them moving towards is a system where they simply produce adventure content. There'll be some sort of vague background world that they'll be working with. It will probably be new. They're probably going to want to break contact with a lot of the established stuff, because that's been another thing that's been very common through a very common thread through a lot of their content is they've been trying to make it as generic as possible, even when it's set in a specific setting, so that you could take it and put it into your game at home. They'll come in here even more vague than the 4th edition's Points of Light campaigns. Yeah, absolutely. And I still feel robbed that that setting didn't get developed more, because it actually worked with D&D's game and mechanics model. But that's different. That's a whole different episode and rant. Anyways, I see them moving towards this vague world. I don't see them generating a lot of content for that world outside of what's necessary for any given adventure or campaign, which is why they're able to reduce their staff down so much. They don't need to have as many people because they want to move to I'm going to say almost all digital status. I don't think, at least for the next 5 years, 6 years, that they're going to move away from publishing physical books, because there's still money to be made in that. But I think that they are going to be moving towards a model where you don't purchase, you license their books through the DM's Guild, and that is how you maintain your access to them, because they said they want them to be evergreen, which means constant updates and all that sort of stuff. And to me, that implies that they are going to want to not produce anything on paper, because paper makes things concrete. Like, paper is a snapshot, and they don't want people to do that anymore. They're going to want that digital money. They're going to want your subscription fee, then a ton of microtransactions, so that, you know, like, well, I'm a DM, I need to have membership. I need this level of membership to get access to the DM tools and to their VTT. Plus, I need to have access to the following books, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. That's the model I see them moving towards, which would also explain why they're so comfortable reducing their size so much, because that particular model is very conducive to having basically just like project managers and a handful of creatives actually physically working for you, who sort of like set up like, this is what we're going to do. Then they can hire a bunch of freelancers, which is something else they've been doing a lot of. Hire a bunch of freelancers who will write the actual games and adventures. It'll go to some group to be converted for their VTT, and that'll be it. I'm personally very curious as to how this is going to impact the DM's Guild side of things, because in order to stay relevant within the new system, something's going to have to give. And either people who are working with the people who are working heavily in the DM's Guild and who are heavily invested into it as like a living, like what they do, they may have to start learning how to like design dungeons within the VTT system and other stuff like that, and offer like a fully integrated experience, which will put a lot of pressure onto them to either like develop a whole new skill set, or I think we'll probably see a new like subset of freelancers develop whose expertise is converting content to VTT format, and setting up the VTT stuff, so that a DM could just be like, oh yeah, I picked up, you know, I don't know, like adventures on, you know, 3 Kobold Mountain, and it came with all these dungeons and everything all pre-prepared, so they can just like go into it. But these mass layoffs have sort of like rocked everything, and it's going to be, I think, a very interesting 2024 as we start seeing all the stuff coming out and start getting a feeling for where Wizards is going to be directing themselves next, because as was popped up in my comments here a few minutes ago, you know, everybody in the industry is trying to compete with D&D, but D&D is trying to compete with other media and entertainment options. Or, well, at least they were, until they had to sell off, you know, the studios and a bunch of other stuff they bought at a loss. Because, you know, why? Why do something that makes sense or makes money? Or think, you know, long term. Let's see here, I'm going to comment here. Yeah, I've seen a few VTT versions of the DM's Guild already, including some designed to actually flesh out the official D&D event. Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting. Definitely going to be interesting to see how that develops. And I've already seen, like, for example, I use Roll20 for my stuff, and I've already seen that they're starting to roll out some new stuff. So I'm going to be tracking that and experimenting with it. All my friends. Should be pretty good. So, yeah. Overall, though, 2023, at least for POCGamer, was a decent year. Not great, not bad. Like, it was just very, very middle of the road development as freelance, or developing freelancing, getting into the groove of things with content and stuff like that. We did Aquatic Summer, which was actually pretty well received. People liked a lot of the underwater stuff that I posted, and I had some actual like diving sites like some of the stuff that I was putting out, because it was a good explanation, because I'm a diver, real life, so they liked that I was explaining how things worked underwater, and things like that. So yeah, it was pretty good. There was also, trials and tribulations through the years. So yeah, I had some family stuff going on down on the coast. So that took a chunk out of the summer, but that was okay. We adapted and overcame. We had fires, so many fires. I live in the southern interior of British Columbia, and yeah, yeah. Watching the fire jump the lake is always a fun experience. Just for reference, the fires where I live are so bad that a space roughly the size of the city of Chicago burned to my west by about, I don't know, 15 kilometers, something like that. So less than 10 miles. Yeah, that was a couple years ago, and so we had fires, and that disrupted a lot of everything. So like a comment here, the underwater stuff was so cool. Definitely keeping it in my back pocket for future interest. Yeah, that was a good plan. But also saying, hang on, open up my other notes. Wrong notes. Well, not wrong notes. Wrong. What's it called? There we go. Wrong spreadsheet. So yeah, speaking of underwater stuff, I'm going to be doing a little bit more of it. So, one of my biggest lessons this year, just on like personal, not personal, but like on a professional level, was learning how to better manage my time. Like, time management is something that I think a lot of us struggle with as like freelancers and as creators. Just because there's only so much time and you have to balance like life, family, creativity, and like your own well-being and stuff like that all at once. And it becomes very easy to overpromise, which is where I think I went at times this year. It was definitely too much stuff going on. And I was trying to get too much stuff out, which resulted in me not being able to always meet my own deadlines or my own ideas. Like, I was so happy I managed to make it through Aquatic Summer, and actually like have it work out. That was the first time. Sorry, it was my second attempt at a themed event during a year. The first one was going in generic, which didn't work out very well, but this one actually did. I was very happy with that, but for other things like getting games written, getting content like that out, it was too much. I overpromised and was not able to deliver, in addition to like the regular scheduled content that I'm trying to get out. So I was saying, speaking of underwater stuff, I am going to be... this year, one of my big goals is a second edition of Wave Chasers. So, for those of you not tracking, Wave Chasers was the first like full role playing game that I put out. It's science fiction. It's based on like an abandoned aquatic resort world, and it's gotten people seem to like it. They like having adventures, the salvage, avoiding being stung or bitten by all the wild stuff on the planet, all that sort of stuff. But it's also very, very much like a first go. So this year I would like to go through it, improved mechanic system, better lore, better support in the game, all that sort of stuff. Better layout. God, the layout. Yeah. Looking at the layout of it now, it's very much a Palladium special, like 2 columns, and so there's gonna be more underwater stuff happening with that, and less underwater but more fun. I'm gonna be releasing some stuff for hopefully for Fight City, got whole bunch of little things going on. So hopefully I'll have some more game content out in addition to the contractual writing that I'm completing right now. So should be pretty good. 2024 is looking like a much more feasible and reasonable year. I'm setting scheduling better, and I've got myself made a project. Whoa! Oh, sorry, did not mean to shift that around suddenly here. I'm just going to hit lock source on that, so that will never happen again. So I was clicking on stuff and accidentally grabbed that. Yeah. Anyways, yeah, I made myself a project tracker on Google Sheets there, so I'm complete with like little check boxes and all that sort of good stuff. So hopefully that's things will be more even and continue the reliable pace that's been happening for the last, oh geez, like, well, yeah, no, I'll say 2023, yeah. 2023, with the exception of when the fires were happening, yeah, posts were getting out regularly, and like there was regular content. There was, yeah, all the things that need to happen were happening. So, what am I? So yeah, sorry, just brains are sorry. Got sucked into the looking at my project tracker and all the stuff that I have to do. Anyway, so what are my goals this year? I am keeping the goals realistic. So, on the footprint side of things, my goal is to get to 5,000 followers on Blue Sky. I think it's doable. I've got a whole year to do it. Just got to get cracking, do things. Get up to 2K on Threads. Also, I think doable. It's working out. It's growing. Should be interesting. 10K on TikTok. I do enjoy making short form videos. And some of them on TikTok actually have reasonable reach. And I've discovered how to do things on Canva so that I can actually like make like 1 minute videos on it that are fairly professional looking that I can then upload to it. So do that. I want to hit 1,000 on YouTube. It's doable. Just got to do more videos, and like I said, able to do short form videos. I can do shorts and TikTok same time. I want to get back up to 50,000 views on the site, so I want to rebound and make up for the losses from Twitter. And then yeah, I want to get up to $500 a month and support coming from both Patreon and Coffee. And on the content side of it, very straightforward. I want to maintain a regular schedule of releases. So that's early access stuff for all of my monthly supporters on Coffee and Patreon. I want to be able to more regularly get Lord Iver episodes out. People seem to enjoy listening to those. So, but they are just an absolute undertaking to create between the research, writing, recording, editing, and everything else like that. Like a 10 to 12 minute Lord Iver episode is the equivalent of writing, like, time-wise, of like 2 or 3 articles. So I want to do more though. They'll just be maybe like a monthly or like every 6 weeks or something like that. Because I just have to, like I said, it's time budgeting. It's all about time budgeting. And I think that about wraps it all up. Hey, if anyone's got any questions, I see there's still 6 of you with me. Yeah, if you've got any questions, fire off, and we'll finish with some questions, and then I will sign off because I should probably eat lunch. That is usually a good plan. So just look at my stream chat here. and get a drink. Sweet, sweet caffeine. All right, well, it's looking pretty quiet. Not seeing too many questions here. I am very appreciative of all the comments and the very, very active comment section today. It was very cool. I enjoyed that. So it has been an hour. Thank you very much for joining me for this recap of 2023, and sort of like a looking forward to all the. Oh, I did get a question. Okay. Ha! I will finish saying my goodbyes in a second. I did get a question. One of my favorite tools for layout. I have two tool sets I use for layout. I have Canva and I have Affinity Publisher. I enjoy Canva because Canva is easy and I'm old. Unfortunately, I am now north of 40, and learning new skills takes more time than it used to. And so Canva is extremely user-friendly and lets me do layouts very quickly on it. And the page replication is super handy. The downside to it is that it's only really good for shorter books or shorter works, because it starts getting unwieldy really quickly. And there's a lot of stuff you have to do manually, like page numbering and stuff like that. So, yeah. Canva's great, but a little bit limited. Affinity Publisher, I love. I got they had a sale on, and I was able to upgrade my stuff. And it has been it's a learning curve. Much like Campaign Cartographer, I'm in the process of learning it, but just learning takes more time for me now, because I'm balancing learning that with making other content, being a dad, and writing and all that sort of stuff. So I will eventually get there. I do really like it. I used Affinity Publisher when I created Nova Suno, which was a 24xx game. It was really nice. It was so nice creating a trifold on that. It was awesome. The other benefit to Affinity Publisher is A, you own it. It's not a subscription service like Adobe. And B, there are a ton of awesome people out there who are putting out templates for it that are fantastic. And I strongly recommend checking their stuff out. Let's see here. Another question. Do I have a Discord server? Yes, I do have a Discord server. And I do. It's I've got it set up for supporters right now, but I'm considering setting up another Discord sort of for everybody. But we'll see how that all goes. Just because it's more things to manage. And I'm kind of hitting a limit for the number of things I can keep track of all at once. But there's my favorite tools for layout. And do I have a Discord server? Actually, Rachel Iriswings, yes. Are you on Blue Sky yet? If not, fire me a message. I've got a code. We'll get you over onto there, and it'll be awesome. So, anyways, great talk, everybody. 2023 was good. 2024 is going to be better. So I'll just get this message. What the? Oh, come on. I'm not signing. Oh, good grief. Happy New Year's, everyone. I'm going to fight with technology more. Everyone take care, stay hydrated, and stay safe. And of course, a big shout out to all of my supporters on Patreon and Ko-fi. Thank you very much. You are a big reason why I'm able to do this. And a big specific shout out to my Master Diver Nye, who is a $15 supporter. Thank you very much. Take care, everyone. Have a great time.